360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Well, we are super excited. Jim will be here with us in a minute. He's dilly-dallying backstage.
Actually, ladies and gentlemen, today is November. November. See, I'm already goofed up. I'm having a little fun with you today, ladies and gentlemen. Today, February the 18th, you know what day it is? I mean, there's a lot of things here that's a national day, and that is the National Drink Wine Day. So that's why I'm a little bit late. I'm just teasing, but it's really important, it's kind of fun to go to nationaltoday.com and see what, the national day is for that particular day. And
right.
We're not going to talk about all of these, but, give you an idea. National Battery Day. My goodness gracious. And I asked Donna before the show, how come there's no B batteries?
Well, I have a better question than that. How come the manufacturers put the batteries in a little container with plastic that's so dadgum hard to get off, but our eggs that, you got to have a chainsaw to get it open. But the eggs that we buy that are super fragile are in a very flimsy styrofoam container.
There you go. That's above my pay grade to explain it, but I know what you're talking about, girl. And also today on National Day, of course, batteries, National Caregivers Day. We're going to give a shout out, and we're going to talk a little bit today about caregivers, because I've been around some that's been with elderly people in my family, and they are very, very special people.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, Thumb Appreciation Day. Well, I appreciate my thumb every day. Pluto Day. It says, do you know why a day on Pluto is equivalent to 6.4 Earth days? And it's because of the distance out there and it, turning and all. Also, the National Crab Stuffed Flounder Day. So if you like crab stuffed flounder, today's your day. Right.
Order up.
Oh, yeah. We've had a wonderful week, Donna. A wonderful week. I love what we've covered this week.
I do too, because it's so important, understanding change and adversity and how it affects our lives on every level, from understanding it as a person to help you understand it in your own family, in your business, in every aspect of what we do.
You're absolutely correct, Donna, because we really should look at change as an opportunity. We should embrace change. And a lot of people are, when 2020 was, you heard it more during 2020 than you do today. I can't wait till things get back the way they used to be. Well, that's never going to happen.
Absolutely not.
Never going to happen. So adjust yourself to where you're not, unpleasant. Just saw a strange cat walk by there at the window. The neighbor's cat, I guess it is. But over here checking out its domain where we live.
Right.
But, you got to embrace change and be able to adjust yourself to where it does not affect you and make you miserable. Because some people, they let something that goes on in their life or happens in their life just make them miserable, and they just can't seem to let it go. Goodness.
Right. And it blocks our energy, Jim. And, when you do that, you're not being able to look at the clear picture and actually be able to see it for what it is, because we are so emotional that we tend to make a mountain out of a molehill. And when we think about it, 99% probably of the issues of change that we have are either going to be a blessing because it led us into something better, or it's going to be a blessing because it didn't work. And that is a blessing. And that's the lesson.
It really, really is, because sometimes, blessings have a way of coming in disguise.
Oh, absolutely. The old saying, when one door closes, a window opens.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And Donna and I, in our friendship and knowing each other and becoming like brother and sister and family and all that, it wasn't all paved road. I mean, we had some lumps and bumps, and we, not us individually, between us or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that we had growing pains. We really did. We went through growing pains. And what we did, we embraced those growing pains. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's because I'm her partner. That's why she wanted to bring that up. But we have just had some things that as we embrace change and go forward and look for what's the benefit of others.
Right.
That's where your focus should be. And we've had things come to us. And right now, I can honestly say this, ladies and gentlemen, right now, I've got more than I can say grace over.
Right.
And I mean that sincerely.
Absolutely. And, we got really lucky to be, have our company, our partnership, and have all the people who have come in with us and blessed us.
Yes, absolutely. And
we have an amazing team.
We really do. And to give you an example, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, because it's you were the ones that created this.
Right.
We were notified, was it week before last? I think it was, from Aaron Hymas, the president of E360 TV, that now, because our show is so consistent and it's continuing to get great numbers, we're now going to have our own Roku. And is it Amazon Fire or is it Apple TV? I forget which.
I think it's Apple, but I'm not.
It's one. It's either one or the t'other.
It's one of the A's.
It's one of the A's. There you go. Because we ain't got no B batteries, and we. But my point being is that when something like that comes to you, that is a blessing for your efforts in looking out and how you can help and bless others. Because we've covered a wide variety of topics on this show.
And we'll continue to do so.
Yes, ma'am, we will, because we're all about infotainment. And I'm ready for just a little bit of attainment. And I'm going to have Donna ask me first. If I was going to be put on a deserted island and I could only take 3 things with me, what would those 3 things be?
Okay.
All right. Now, I had a little fun. I asked my wife about this too. And I'm going to ask Donna about the deserted island, 3 things she can take with her. But I asked my wife. Now, you got to understand, my wife is very religious. And she's very practical. And first thing she said was a Bible, And second thing was matches. And a third thing was water. And as we talked about it, she said, well, Jim, what would you take? And I said, well, I would take a magnifying glass. She says, that's good, because you could actually create fires and you wouldn't run out of matches. That's a bingo. And another thing I'd want is rope. Lots of rope, because I can make my own shelters. I could tie stuff up. I mean, rope would come in very handy. And of course, a machete.
You took mine.
Well, I'll give it back to you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I didn't mean to be stingy there and be greedy and
take
yours.
He just takes everything away from me, folks.
That's the advantage in being able to go first. You go come in last.
Nice, Jim. I feel the love, brother. I feel the love right here.
I hear you. So, Donna, if you were going to be put on a deserted island and you could only take 3 things with you, what would the 3 things you would pick?
I would take a water purifier kit. Okay. I would take definitely a machete,
Uh-huh.
and I would take a pot
Oh, a
because you
cooking
can,
pot.
right, you can cook in it, you can
Yeah.
collect in it, you can do all kinds of things with that.
Yeah, you can soak your feet in it and everything.
I'm pretty sure if I'm on a deserted island, I'm not going to have time to soak my dadgum feet.
It was just a nice thought. Oh my goodness. But today embracing change. Back during the first part of the year, Donna and I put on a week. It was either a week or 10 days long. I forget which. A show about 2022. Make a New Year's revolution instead of a
Absolutely.
resolution, because people are tired of the doom and the gloom. A lot of people, when you look at the world, a lot of people are angry. A lot of
Mhm.
people are frustrated. A lot of people feel like they've been lied to. All of the negative things that can be vomited on society has been thrown up on us. And when you embrace change and accept the fact that these things are going to all pass away and you're going to live, but you want to not only just survive, you want to thrive and enjoy
Right.
the abundance of life. And that's what happened back during the first part of the 20th century, wasn't it, Donna?
It was. It absolutely was.
Hmm.
The roaring 20s.
Yeah, because right before that was World War One.
Mhm.
Then they had was it the Spanish flu, the epidemic that took out I don't know how many people.
Yeah, that was huge.
I mean, that was scary.
It was
Now,
very
that
scary.
epidemic was scary for the folks because they didn't have
Mhm.
the hospitals. They didn't have, all the things that we have at our fingertips. Think about all the things that we can do to enhance our health today that people back then did not have.
Right.
And so once that passed, they were tired of the doom, the gloom, death. They wanted to live. And the Roaring Twenties was a great example of how people said, we're going to embrace change. We're going to come out. And that's what you need to do. Right now, you're standing in a portal where you need to go through and embrace change. It's just
But
amazing, isn't it?
it is. And one of the things about when people are a little hesitant about embracing change, I believe that it should be looked at as an educational experience,
Yes.
right? Because you're going to learn new things about yourself, right? You're going to be able to see things in a new light, maybe your current beliefs and values, skill points, viewpoints, how that's all going to come and play into your life and affect it for a better outcome.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And whenever the first thing to do is realize that everybody else is facing the same thing you are.
Right.
They're looking for leadership, they're looking for something to believe in, and they're just like you. They're tired of the doom and the gloom.
Mhm.
And so there, it's important for you to just, take a step out on courage. But when you take that step out, it's not about you. It's about how can you encourage others? How can you bless others? How can you be a bright light in the darkness of their life? That's
Absolutely.
that's your focal point.
And when you do that, you're showing others how adaptability
Hmm.
can be a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah.
That you're adapting, okay, this didn't work, lesson learned, next.
Mhm.
And now you find something new and better, and others are saying, wow, it's not that hard to adapt. It's
Mhm.
not that hard to change
Mhm.
and make this a better space for us.
Mhm. Absolutely. Because remember that a diamond doesn't start out shiny in the beginning.
No, no,
It's an old black piece of coal looking stuff.
right?
And, through, I like to tell the story about, silver and sterling silver. What's the difference? Well, silver is heated up And it's what's called DOS, DOSS. The DOS, or the impurities, are removed from the silver
Right.
by the fire process, and then you wind up with sterling silver. And sterling silver is what, that's the preferred silverware. I guess it is. It still is, ain't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Because
It
I'm
is.
just a country boy and I live simple. So, my silver spoons are normally, the holiday ones that are sprayed silver or lick silver. I'm just kidding. I'm having some fun. I'm in a good mood today. It's Friday. Oh my
It
goodness
is.
gracious. Yeah.
It is. It has been a great week so far.
Mm-hmm.
It
It
has been a
really
great
has.
week. But Jim, let's touch on something about change and how it can affect us. It
Okay.
takes immense courage as a leader in anything that you are doing to change.
Amen.
And courage is nothing but great strength, folks.
Mm-hmm.
What is your
Amen.
courage? What is your courage today?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have that you've always wanted to do and you put it off? Do you have the courage to do it today?
Mm. And I got to give a shout out to you ladies, because ladies have that unique ability that us guys don't have. I mean, we're just not wired that way. You have the ability to know deep down inside your gut feeling that this is the right direction.
Mhm.
Because how many guys have come up with schemes and the lady in his life goes like, I don't know about that one.
Right.
I mean, there is a 50-50-90 rule that applies to all of us guys. If we have a 50-50 shot at doing something right the very first time, if we do not listen to the wise advice of the lady in our life, you can rest assured there's a 90% chance we're going to bolo it right out of the gate. But, like with men, I've had a lot of experience in this particular area. You go into some purchasing agent in any company, and you're introducing a new product, a new concept, or whatever. And I'll guarantee you 100% of the time, within 5 minutes, I'm not talking about ladies, because ladies are going to be collecting information and evaluating you and the information and how it feels. But big boy would be sitting there, and within 5 minutes, he will ask you one question. And that one question is this: who else is using this? And there's a reason for that. Number one, he wants to perform his job and not get in trouble. He's got that safety net there. Number
Right.
two, he's afraid that if he tries something new, implements something new in the company, and it's a flop, he knows that corporate America would look at him as being a failure, and that
Right.
scares him to death. So when you talk about embracing change, that means coming out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely. And it's taking a risk, but you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to evaluate, the pros and the cons of anything you implement in your life. Is
Yeah.
this going to work better? Is this going to be more efficient? Is there going to be, better time management?
Mhm.
If you are overseeing a lot of people, one
Mhm.
of the questions you need to ask yourself, hey, is this going to help the people who I work with have an easier job, get more done, and less stress?
Yes.
That's huge.
And increase
That
the
is
quality of their life, because all those things
absolutely
come into the quality of life. You're doing a good job. You love what you're doing. And people ask me when I'm going to retire because I'm 73. Well, you know what? Probably the day before I die, because I love what I'm doing.
right.
I really do. And talk about embracing change and taking a risk. I mean, Donna took a risk on me. I don't know why she finds that so hilarious.
Because you're so silly. Because you are so silly.
I like to say things like that to catch her off balance. But really, it's we just knew that we had the same focus.
Hmm.
Our focus was on delivering a great show, infotaining show. That's why we're focused on information rather than having just guest speaker after guest speaker after guest speaker.
Well, and
Because
we also have the same core values, Jim.
Mhm. Yeah, we do.
You know, we were
We do.
we were literally born on opposite sides of the country.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She was born the rich side. I was born the
Oh, I was not. I was not. You're silly. But our core values are the same. And, even though I'm about 3 years younger than you,
How much?
right? But even though
She's
I'm a
more
little bit
three,
younger than
trust me.
you, you know
She's
what? It's funny because there's not really a division of generation because we grew up kind of in that same time frame.
mhm. Oh yeah. I'm still growing up.
You'll never grow up. Neither will I. That's my husband.
Yeah. It's kind of like the old saying that growing old is mandatory, but growing up is optional.
Absolutely.
And when I asked about,
I prefer to have options in my life,
there
folks.
you go, there you go. Besides that, they said the optional part, you got to have intelligence. And I said, what's that? And it says, don't worry about it, Jim. Oh, okay. But it's
Right.
really, whenever you embrace change, don't ever look inward. Always look outward.
Hmm.
It's kind of like the mother preparing the meal for her family at dinner time. She's not focused on how the food's going to taste for her. She's focused on how her family is going to be able to enjoy the love she had for them in preparing that meal.
Absolutely.
That's your outlook there. That's what it takes.
Yep. Absolutely. And when we look at it in that way and your energy changes, and I
Mhm.
know we talk about this a lot, but it's honestly the truth. It's the energy, and we all know it.
Mhm.
We all have those people in our life who just are sunshine
Oh yeah.
and bright daisies, the brightest color flower. And then we have the people who are just like a dark thunderstorm. And it
Mm.
just really is a downer to be around them. So
Oh yeah.
your energy and how you look at change will affect how everybody else is going to take that in and
Mhm.
embrace it.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Donna. It's really amazing, and I like to ask. I asked my wife this question. I'm gonna have Donna ask me, then I'll ask her. I asked her. I says, "Living or dead, name one person that you'd like to have a conversation with, and why." And Evelyn loves history, but her answer shocked me. She says, "Oh, one of the Indian chiefs, back around before the Civil War, da 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 da." And she says, I can't really think of one off the top of my head, but she says, I would like to sit down with them and ask them about the simple life, the Indian life, the Native American life, how it was before all the change came. She says, I'd find that interesting. And then she asked,
Absolutely.
and then she asked me about me, and I said, well, my dad is the one I'd like to have a conversation with. I lost him in 78. With him, when he left this earth, he took a lot of the family history with him.
Right.
I don't even know where one of my brother. I've got a brother and a sister. They were twins. They were the first children of my mom and dad, and both of them lived about 8 hours, and one lived about 10 hours. Both of them died, but I don't remember exact. I know in the general area where their graves are, but if someone says take us to the graves of the twins, I couldn't do it. And I
Yeah.
went there one time with my dad when I was about 13 or 14. In fact, I went there several times, but when you're a young kid, you just don't remember stuff like that.
Right. Right.
But that's a good example. Now, Donna, living or dead, name one person you'd like to have a conversation with and share with us why.
I think it would have to be, and there are so many.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
gosh, there are so many. We've lost so many good people over the years.
Mm.
But I think I would have to say Mother Teresa.
Mm. Good one.
Not from a religious standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
but from a humanitarian standpoint,
Mm.
right? Uh, what really drove her, and what she could suggest to me to implement in my life to help
Mm-hmm.
everyone in the world.
Wow, that's a
One
good
person
one.
at a time.
That is a good one, Donna. And Mother Teresa is a great example of what we're talking about because she saw a lot of
Absolutely.
change in her life. She embraced it and she did not let change break her stride or
No,
break her spirit or rob her of who she was as far as her morals, her values, and her beliefs.
right?
That's huge.
It is huge.
That is huge.
So
And
who
Donna
would
Earl,
be, I'm
okay, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. No,
No,
no, no,
you.
never mind. No, no, you go.
I was going to change the subject, so you go ahead before I change the subject. Ladies first.
Change the subject, Jim.
Okay. What do you want to talk about? I was going to say, my goodness gracious, we need to give a shout out to the caregivers because this is National Caregiver Day.
Okay, and that is so near and dear to my heart.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
It
Very near and
really,
dear to my heart.
it really is because these caregivers, I mean, I
They do
remember,
so much.
oh yeah. I remember when the ladies came over and it was back in 2006, my father-in-law was sent home on hospice and we were there to be with him during the last few days of his life. And the way the caregivers came over and the way they, showed him love and compassion and treated him, just the best that they could. And they brought in all this stuff, new stuff, like he was going to live to be, live another 20 years or something.
Right.
And, how they handled that entire negative situation to make it a positive situation and to make the family feel good in the process. They have that gift.
Well, and caregivers, that's such a, whew, I take my hat off. It's such a broad term. So, I want to take my hat off to every caregiver out there. The
Yeah, I want to
doctors, the
salute them.
nurses, right? The doctors, the nurses. I mean, everybody down to the people, the janitor, everybody, because they're all a caregiver in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
All you mothers, all you fathers, everybody who's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
if you look at it, we're all caregivers in so
Yeah.
many ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can say when my folks had to be put into assisted living care, there was one particular lady. She was the the head person, and her name was Judy, and she took absolutely unbelievable, marvelous care of my parents.
Mm.
There were some other ones there who weren't so well demeanored, and let's just say we butted heads in no uncertain terms. Because when your folks or your loved one is in a facility and they can no longer 100% take care of themselves, we regress and they need more help, and it's up to us to protect them. And she just did a marvelous job, of, not embarrassing them, make it all seem okay. Everything's fine. This is no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And all the things that go on behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. They're the special person. And I like what you said there about caregivers. I mean, if you care enough for someone to open the door for them, that shows ultimate respect. Mm-hmm. That falls under the caregiving because you cared about a person enough to respect them and
Absolutely.
open the door for them, especially you guys out there. And you see a lady come and open the door for her. Goodness gracious, that's that should be what's the old Mexican cartoons that you doesn't need any words, Sin Pablos. You don't even need words for that. That should be automatic.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to share this with everyone. According to a report by the Gallup Healthways Well-Being Index, caregivers spend an average of 6 days a month in grooming, feeding, dressing, bathing, and walking. They average 13 days a month commuting, cleaning, doing the laundry, monitoring medication, shopping, and cooking special meals for their patient.
Oh, yeah.
Furthermore, 13 hours a month are spent coordinating visits with physicians, researching symptoms and diseases, and managing finances, because a lot of times they help with the finance. And it's just amazing how much they give, because with a caregiver, they don't go by their job description.
No.
Whatever their patient needs, they freely give without even thinking about it.
Right.
So thank you very much, caregivers out there, and bless you, because you are a special person. You have a special calling, a special gift. And I know that I know that I know that I know there will be a special place for you in eternity to reward you for your love and your compassion.
Yep. They're doing a special job indeed.
Oh, yeah.
Special job. So
Mm.
thank you to each and every one of you out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, Donna, when it comes to one of the things that helps in when you adapt to change in lifestyle and all that, how about educating yourself?
Oh, absolutely.
Read up on stuff. Because other people have been down that road. Read their stories, for example. You know.
Well, it's kind of no different than when we go online and we think, okay, I'm going to buy a new appliance. And you kind of have one brand picked out or one model. You want to go in and look at the reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's no different. You're educating yourself. It is no different when you are changing something in your business for good, that you educate yourself on it and understand, oh, gosh, there's got to be somebody who's gone through something similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Because when the pandemic hit, those of you that follow the show know the history of how we started on Zoom and Facebook and all that. But then we got invited to join E360 TV. We had to educate ourselves on how to go live.
To work all this back here.
Yeah, the back office. And I just got to say, Donna does a wonderful job with all the work that she does there and preparing for the show. And I'm very honored and blessed. And we work together.
We do.
But we had to educate ourselves. We had to come out of our comfort zone.
Right.
Do we like being technical people? Not really. But it's kind of like that old, was it 1984, that old song, Ghostbusters? I mean, who are you going to call?
Right.
I'll call Donna, and Donna call me, and both of us will put our heads together and figure it out.
Absolutely.
But you got to embrace that. And education, it could be a huge step in the right direction for you.
It is.
Especially when you read other people's stories and lives, how they dealt with turbulent times.
Right. Well, and I think right along with that is appreciating your failures.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't really like the terminology failure. So let me rephrase that. Appreciate your lessons learned and enjoy your success.
Oh,
Celebrate
yes.
it. So when you implement something and it works and all your team is in on it, have a little something. Have a little celebration. You know?
Yeah.
Because that makes them feel so warm and fuzzy and embracing that change, and you're giving back to them.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it just means so much, because it's important when you embrace change, and change is coming that may or may not be, if you're, you may not have any control over it.
Right.
But the more that you get the people on your team bought into it, the easier that change will be, the more effective it will be. And some of the members of your team is going to give you some great ideas that you should listen to. That's the mastermind principle.
Absolutely, because they're the boots on the ground.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're the boots on the ground. But when you do that and you allow yourself to accept and embrace change, you become proactive, right? Right. So it allows you not to be reactive.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And when we are reactive, which is, an automatic reflex, if you will, that's when things can get a little haywire.
You're absolutely correct there, because being reactive, that just means you didn't plan.
Right.
I'm going to come right down to it, because even though that I thought I ate healthy, even though I I quit smoking back in the mid 70s, and I quit drinking in 81, and I try to eat right. Well, guess what? I had to react to a
Right.
heart attack I had and had to have open heart surgery.
And you
So,
had to be proactive about it in a minute's notice.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
All I had to do is show up and they put me to sleep and did it,
But when you do accept it, you stop wasting time and energy
Yes.
and complaining about what isn't working. And now you have the ability to focus on, okay, what is the outcome we want to see from this? And how is this change going to be implemented and work for everybody?
Oh, yeah, I like that because you're talking about opportunities and possibilities that could not exist. Listen to this, that could not exist before the change came,
Right.
Think about that.
How many times, I can't tell you folks, how many times as a mother and a single mother that I had to change, right? I had 3 children at 3 separate schools, which meant 3 separate events, and all of them usually put them on the same dadgum night. So it was bouncing from one to the other to the other. Oh, it was a nightmare. But you know what? I had to be changed. I had to be ready to change, to be adaptable and flexible.
Yes, yes. Because her focus was on her kids and taking care of them, and not focused on I got to be here, there, and yonder, mainly yonder.
I wanted to show up for them.
Yeah, exactly. And when talk about things that you haven't done in your life that you'd like to do, that's important. Like a bucket list. I really don't have a bucket list per se. I know a lot of people do. I don't know why. Maybe I'm weird or different. You do?
I got a big bucket list.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd take up the rest of the show, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll be
right. The first one on my bucket list always throws people for a loop. Woo!
You want to jump out of an airplane, right?
Oh God, no.
Oh, okay. That shows intelligence. Why jump out of a perfectly good airplane?
No. Heights aren't my thing. Not that way. There ain't nothing under my feet. We've got an issue.
You want to tell us what's number 1 on your bucket list there, Donna?
Sure. I want to shoot a rocket launcher.
Not in my backyard.
That's always been on my bucket list. I just think that would be so much fun. Boom.
Oh yeah.
Right. Right. So that's definitely a number 1. But I would love to be able to go around the country with my husband and see all the magnificent sights and things that there are to see and share with him and our journey. Now, I have been all to every point of interest in the West Coast in my life. And there's a few over here on this side of the country, but I have not been able to go to the East Coast and see over there. And there's so much I would like to see.
Oh yeah. I was talking to Evelyn about it, and I said, what's on your bucket list? Because I was, trying to get a little help, She says, I don't really have a bucket list. And I said, that's me. That's the same thing. And I said, the only thing that, and we both said at the same time, was just maybe travel and see the USA.
Yeah.
That's it. Because I don't know why, but I don't really have a bucket list. I guess, I just don't, and I'll leave it at that.
Right.
But the main thing is in your bucket list, if you're something that you want to, bring into your life, fit into your life, just don't say one of these days.
Right.
Do it. Plan on doing it. Set a date. That's the best way, because then you got a target point. That's kind of like people saying one of these days, I hope I win the lottery. Well, that's never going to happen. And if you say one of these days, I want to, go up in a hot air balloon, Two things I can tell you about that. That'll never happen for you, and it ain't gonna happen for Donna either.
Actually, I wouldn't mind going up in a hot air balloon.
Really? I'll be doggone.
I know, even though I'm scared of heights. Now, my husband, he looked at me, crossed his eyes, and gave me that look like, you are out of your mind. I think it would be amazing to go in a hot air balloon. Now, again, folks, I've got something that my feet can be on, right?
Yeah,
so that makes it a little easier for me. But I think it would be amazing to go across some of the parts of Arizona here. I think it would be
beautiful.
Wouldn't it? I mean, there are so many beautiful areas here in Arizona because we're such a diverse state, from, really cold, high snow elevation to, of course, the Grand Canyon and the, Sonoran Desert.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting you say that because I used to think years ago that maybe I was a little bit off because I too have a fear of heights. I really do.
Off, Jim.
Yeah, I know that, but that's our secret, right?
Not anymore.
Oh my goodness, great. The cat's out of the bag, huh?
It is.
But when I was in Vietnam, I mean, flying in helicopters was common for us, and sitting right on the edge of the helicopter on the bench seat in the back. I'm talking about the Huey, the slick as they's called over there. No seatbelt on, sitting right beside the door, looking out. And I was comfortable as I am sitting right here in this studio chair. But you put me up 50 feet in the air. Oh, no. I don't know why, but there's something about that. And then I read something that Richard Petty said. It made me feel real good. Richard Petty, some of you might know or might recall that he won 200 races, 7 championships in NASCAR, speeds over 200 mile an hour and all that during his career. Before the restrictor plate came in. But he said, he's been up in a hot air balloon, but he says when it comes to heights, he says, I'd much rather see a city from the subway than a skyscraper. I thought, no, I can relate to that. No, I don't. Now I feel like I'm in good company,
Right. So, I think one of the other things that I would like to do is I would like to visit the Smithsonian's. So, my husband and I have we love history and all history. Evolution, everything, all the animals, all the, everything that's been eradicated from Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We absolutely love history. And I think it would be fabulous to be able to go. And because they're so big, you need more in a day.
Oh, yeah. You're going to spend a week
You need to
there.
be able to spend as much time as you can at each one. I think that would be amazing because there's so much. You can go from one area to another to another. And I think that is just the pajamas right there.
It really is because there's so many of them up there and they got such a diverse,
right?
Goodness. The stuff in there, my goodness gracious, it's amazing. Whether you like aircraft or extinct animals. Yeah, whatever. I mean, my goodness, it's there. It's there. And I remember it kind of reminded me of a time we were down at Fort Gordon, Georgia. That's the home of the Signal School. We went over to the museum. Now, this was in 2001. And the way I remember it's 2001 because I was at Fort Gordon for training when 9/11 happened. And I walked into the Signal Corps Museum. I thought, hey, this would be interesting. And then I looked and I saw the same uniform I wore in Vietnam, the jungle fatigues there in display.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, wow, that makes me feel old. I mean, I wasn't expecting to see uniforms that I wore in the military to be in a museum. Are you kidding me? Oh, and that kind of, I wasn't expecting it. I'll say that. And you can imagine how it hit me.
Right.
But, it's really one of the things, too, about embracing change. I want to mention out the Earl Nightingale there, The Strangest Secret, because that can help you. And it's on YouTube. It's about 32 minutes long, The Strangest Secret. And all you got to do is just close your eyes and listen to it.
Right.
Listen to it when you're driving down the road or working on something, but it's best, I think, if you just close your eyes and focus on his voice.
Right.
And listen to the words, because this will enable you to tear down these barriers of fear, because that's what it is that holds us back.
Right.
And I really encourage you to listen to that, because it's extremely valuable talk, that presentation that he gives.
Well, and fear is as a negative energy of the unknown. That's that's why fear is so scary, because it's an unknown quantity. It's an unknown entity. And so we're not sure. We fear, well, if I do that, am I going to trip and fall? Is it going to work? Right. And so when your energy is in the wrong area, right, it's really hard to move forward, because you're blocking yourself. Now you're blocking yourself first here, and then you're blocking yourself here. So you can't get past that.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that the truth? It just amazes me how it takes resilience to be able to face adversity and to accept change. But when you do, it automatically makes you a stronger person.
It does.
I love that.
Right? Hard choices is strength. Making hard choices, hard changes in your life is simply a sign of strength. Changing is inevitable. I'm a firm believer, if it doesn't serve you in your life, in your parameters of integrity and how you want to be, let it go. I'm also a believer on this. This one's huge. The way you allow people to treat you is the way you will be treated. That's huge.
It really is, Donna. It really is. And it really, when I think about all these things, progress and change, this is what opens the door for new beginnings, new opportunities.
Right. An amazing growth.
Yeah. Think about in your life. I mean, if you could turn things around and do something that you did 25 years ago, the way you did it 25 years ago, would you want to do it that way today?
Right.
I know I wouldn't.
And there's some things I would probably want to change, and maybe some I wouldn't. And the thing about that's difficult for me to pinpoint a proper answer is, if I hadn't gone through the things I went through, I wouldn't be the woman I am today.
Oh yeah.
Right. So those roads that weren't even there that I made, well, they helped shape me into who I am today.
Yeah, like the joke around vehicles today is that the best defense to keep your car from getting stolen, or your vehicle getting stolen, is have a manual transmission.
Right. Let's go back to 3 on the Tree and see him work that one. That was my first car. Was a 3 on the Tree.
Yeah, I tell you, it's really amazing, because I learned how to drive. Now, my mom and dad, one of their vehicles was a 1948 Dodge. And I think it was a custom, I'm not sure, but it had the fluid drive. It was the 3 on the Tree. What was unique about this? I know I need to look that up and see how it worked, but what was unique about this? You could put it in first gear and then be at a stoplight, let your clutch all the way out. Now, this is a manual transmission. Have your foot on the brake. When the light turns green, it's just like an automatic. You just step off let go of the brake, step on the gas, and take right off. It wouldn't even roll back. It was called a fluid drive. Yeah. And it was amazing. But it's 3 on. Yeah.
Mine had a clutch like granite. Woo, is that clutch tight?
Yeah. I remember my dad had that 59 Chevy. I'm telling some stories out of school. Had the small V8, the Chevy. I don't know what it is about this. I think it was a 283. It was a 283. And he put that thing in second gear. Those engines had the prettiest whine to them you've ever heard.
Nice.
And it never ever wound up, because I was watching Dad drive one day. He put up second gear and he stepped down on it, and 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65. It got up to 70, 72 mile an hour, and he shifted down in the high, and it wasn't done. It was still winding. I'm going like, wow, and that thing had a pretty wind to it. But I just wanted to share that with you about a pretty wind of a 283, because I know a lot of you folks out there don't even know what a 283 is, or 3 on the tree, or any of that thing. And on that, I humbly feel sorry for you.
But my goodness.
It was fun in those days. But see, nowadays, think about all the creature comforts in cars today that we didn't have back then.
Right.
A touch screen? What's that?
Air conditioning? Come on.
What's that? Yeah. Seat belts? We actually had cars that did not have seat belts in them.
Yep. And look,
if Dad was wanting to get your attention and hush, he would slam on the brakes. Now get up out of the floorboard and behave yourself.
Right. Oh my goodness. I can remember when pretty much only the elite of wealth had AC in their house.
Yeah.
And nobody I grew up with had AC in their house. We all had swamp coolers. So it didn't matter whose house we went to. We were going to be hot no matter where we went.
Yeah. I lived in Arizona for 20 something years, and I like the swamp coolers. I really did. I love the smell.
Oh, see, that's one of, okay, so let's do this. How about this? Here's a quickie. We've got a couple minutes. Okay. What smell brings you back to your childhood?
What smell brings me back? Oh my, that's a no-brainer. That's my mother's homemade biscuits.
That's a good one.
Oh, my mother can make biscuits. The scent, the aroma from those biscuits. They'd have the hound dogs outside drooling. I mean, those things sound good.
Mine would be. I've actually got two.
Okay.
Mine would be the smell of the swamp cooler. There's a certain smell, and it always lulled me to sleep when I was little. And the second one would be sweet peas, because my mom and I used to plant sweet peas, and we'd grow them by the bazillion, and they are such a lovely fragrance.
And when they're fresh like that in the garden, you can wolf them things down like M&Ms, can't you, Donna?
Well, I'm talking about the sweet pea flower.
Oh, okay. All right.
The sweet pea flower. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because it's when you think about those sweet peas, the way they taste fresh out of the garden. Oh yeah.
Grandma, after the second time, when we'd go back to Montana and I'd go out to the garden, she'd send me with a bowl to go pick peas. After the second time, come back with hardly anything in there. And they had, those are the days that you had a huge garden. I mean, huge.
Yeah.
It was like 2.5 houses long. That was a small garden. And she stopped asking me to go pick peas because I ate them all.
But you're right. They're very delicious. I mean, just
good stuff.
Oh yeah, they really truly are. And Donna, I'm out of quarters. I guess we're out of time.
We are out of time, Jim. We are out of time. But you know what? We want to, again, thank each and every one of you out there who watch us. It is an honor for Jim and I to be here and be part of your life. And it is, our mission, our just who we are.
Yes.
To bring you the best quality of information and entertainment. So we have infotainment to you, and we thank each and every one of you.
We certainly do, Donna, because as I mentioned earlier in the show, when we got the invite, we're going to have our own Roku app and Amazon Fire app, I think it is, or one of the two. It's one of those A words, as Donna said. You think we would know that? You think we'd be like the town crier? Hey,
right?
About it, But see, that's also a good reflection of Donna and I. We don't get caught up in the process of what's in it for us. We're always focused on what's in it for others. But all of our success.
Roku and Amazon Fire.
Roku and Amazon Fire. Okay, that means we're on fire, right? But really, and I mean this sincerely, everything that's come to us has been a direct reflection of you folks appreciating us and watching our show. Thank you so very much for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's what you give us is something money can't buy. I mean that sincerely. A lot of people advertise, a lot of people do this, but I mean, you're here because you want to be here. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it.
We do.
And we're out of time, but anyways, I always like to say, be sure and love yourself first so you can love others. Make sure you forgive yourself of anything that's bothering you. It's not worthy for you to dwell on that. Let it go. We'll see you Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful
Bye-bye.
weekend. Be
Have a
safe, be
wonderful,
good.
safe weekend.
Yes, bye-bye.